This video is sponsored by Scribe. They're black stickers on the silver model. Funny. It's nice to know that I wasn't the only one freaking out when these came out. I think most of us had no idea Apple were going to drop these. In fact, last week we made a skit about it, although I'm sort of selfishly happy these are finally out. You see, after getting my M1 refurbished Max model, I realized that I want to sort of change our entire workflow to Apple, especially since I'm diving deeper into iOS development. And so I'm very much thinking of getting another 14-inch model. This time though, an M2 Max with 96GB of RAM, but for now, I got this base model 14-inch M2 Pro in the office. A laptop that will be replacing my current M1 Pro model, and not because M1 Pro should be replaced, but more because my job is to review tech and try my best to integrate these products into my lifestyle, so we can review them and give an honest opinion. I guess that brings me to the elephant in the room. Should you even think of getting one? There's this little voice inside my head screaming at most of you to not get one, simply because on the day these were announced, the refurbished program saw a 445 Canadian dollars price reduction with the latest gen. My friend was patient enough to wait a few weeks, and so he got a sweet deal. So technically, for the price of a maxed out M2 Air, you can now get an M1 Pro model. Makes my long-term M2 MacBook Air review look even better. If you guys watched my comparison review a few months ago, you guys know I absolutely love the 14-inch. It's the laptop for everyone and anyone, just because if you ever need the power in the next 5 to 6 years, it's available to you. But I think the M1 Air is still the best option for those who need to do relatively easy tasks, which in my opinion just leaves the M2 Air and now the new M2 Pro in this awkward position. In other words, for people who have money to spend, professionals needing lots and lots of power like specific devs, editors and whatnot, even businesses with expenses to be made. And so, do I think the majority of people should get one? Probably not. I think your money could be better spent on another MacBook. Now, the morning I got this in the studio, I was able to set this up. I usually make it simple for myself and just plug my Time Machine backups to save some time. I know a lot of you guys are always intrigued about how I set up my MacBook's workflow. Yo, I don't know if you guys just saw that, but Touch ID was insanely fast. Was that really fast? Like, that sensor, was that faster? And so there's this app I installed in order to maybe show you guys in a future video how I do so. Our last MacBook setup video got quite a lot of views, and so we might update it. Scribe is a Chrome extension and a desk setup app that acts as a screen recorder that is able to turn any complex process into a step-by-step guide automatically. I used to code Shopify themes for fun, and I would often have to hop on calls to explain to clients how some of their things work. Say you build them a theme and you want to show them how they can add a dynamic product detail block to their products. Well, instead of hopping on that call, on your spare time, you can just record yourself doing so. Once you start the record session, Scribe will automatically follow your process in order to generate a step-by-step guide of what it is that you want to show. A new tab will pop up, smart enough to produce text, links, and screenshots to make your process clear. You can always edit the title to something more meaningful, add your client's logo if you wish to, set up a description so he or she knows what they are getting into, and if for some reason you deem that some of those auto-generated steps are useless, you can always delete them or even change their titles if needed. Plus, the screenshots are always things you can edit, like change the size of them, change the dot where you clicked, redact to hide sensitive info, and even add an image if you wish to do so as well. Once you're done, you can just simply share the link with your client, and all of this is for free. You can download the extension by clicking the link down below, and hopefully it makes your lives a lot easier. Look, overall, once my whole workflow is set up, I usually like experiencing what new machines can do. Of course, I'm not about to start coding an entire mobile app. By the way, don't mind Jan too much, we were also shooting a day in the life video within this video. But this morning when I got this whole MacBook ready to go, I wanted to just put this and my M1 Pro base model side by side and see what enhancements this new MacBook Pros deliver over the older gen. Like, is everything the same or do we get some differences? Well, I'd like to point out that most of what you see is exactly the same. The keyboard is the same backlit Magic Keyboard with its black anodized aluminum inset. The Force Touch trackpad is the exact same all around. We do see this, right? Like, I'm not crazy. Why is the M1 Pro brighter than the M2 Pro? This is just an overview video. Like, yes, I get it, but true tone off, the same scaling. Am I missing something? Leave me a comment down below because I'm a bit confused. Same liquid retina XDR display with ProMotion technology, a wide color gamut, and 500 nits in SDR. However, weirdly enough, if you scroll within Apple's tech spec sheet website, 1600 nits of peak brightness only happens in temperatures less than 25 degrees Celsius, which might explain why my screen wasn't outputting full brightness. Something else we did not see last year was that this year, the M2 Max version does weigh 3.6 pounds instead of 3.5 like my base model. But that's of course not because the design language changed. We still have a slimmed down profile with the same curves, pronounced feet, and the flat top I've been loving. This seems to be all due because of its internals. Little differences here and there, but not that many. Also, HDMI port finally supports 4K displays up to 240Hz if needed, so we do get HDMI 2.1. However, it uses VESA display stream compression to be able to deliver, which is even better because with DSC you can boost the bandwidth up to 128 GB per second to deliver ultra high definition video. So for you geeks out there, know that even though this is being compressed, not only is this able to deliver higher resolutions and frame rates, but also color depth. It just enhances your image quality and uses the latest technology to be able to do so. Great for colorists in video and amazing for graphic designers in my opinion. What's not that amazing is the support for Wi-Fi 6E. Yes, it's cool, don't get me wrong, I actually do appreciate it, but most people won't benefit from it yet. We still need people's routers at home to switch to routers with Wi-Fi 6E because it's just not that common in a household. The cool part though is that, well, they seem to have built this machine for longevity, especially after pairing that Wi-Fi card with Bluetooth 5.3 and not 5.0 like my M1 Pro. With 5.0, we saw transfer rates go up to 50 megabits per second and the range up to 240 meters. With 5.1, we saw connected devices knowing the location of each other within centimeters and also the direction from which a signal it is searching for is coming from. Then 5.2 introduced improvement in sound quality, energy efficiency, and how audio was transmitted. But with the recent development of 5.3, we finally get all that plus lower consumption when being used, less interference in connections, better security in connections, and better quality at all times. So now my question is, will my wireless mouse and wireless keyboard and wireless headphones suffer from interference like they have been doing on my M1 Pro? I'm excited to see this new stability in connection. What I'm also excited to see is the battery life. Look, internally, the battery has not changed at all. In fact, we still get the same 70 watt-hour battery with no difference in power adapters. So if you get an M1 Pro base model, you still get a 67 watt brick, and if you do upgrade the M2 Pro with the 12 core CPU, it automatically includes the 96 watt adapter out of the box. So even though we now get an hour of battery life, the physical battery still stays the same. From what I understand, all of this is thanks to the efficiency cores being introduced into this machine. So yes, out of the box we get 2 more cores, but those cores are being allocated as E-cores. Usually the OS places some threads on P-cores and E-cores based on criteria like information the app provides. The system also monitors the application's workload over a period of time and even the observation of the system as a whole to see how it's acting upon using the app either on foreground or background. So basically, cores that are used for lightweight applications and generally to schedule some apps to save even more battery. I did run a super quick test with Cinebench and ran AC Top on the site to see power consumption, and just as I was expecting, this does draw more power to deliver more. So yes, we get a 20% more powerful CPU and a 30% more powerful GPU with 6 extra cores, but because this is still a 5nm architecture and not 3 like everyone was hoping for, in a way it's like we are squeezing more juice in a similar bucket when it was already almost fully full. Of course, there are other factors to consider, like the fact that this seems to clock higher. Thermals may differ, we now get 2 ProRes encode and decode engines and so on. But I guess what I'm trying to get to here is, even though battery life was increased, regardless of whether or not this is power hungrier, would it have made this machine a lot better with a 3nm architecture? Like drastically better, I'm talking about. I guess I'm just excited to see when this will start to thermal throttle and whatnot. With TSMC being the new Apple silicon manufacturer, logistically it does make sense that Apple stuck with 5nm. Not only the chips are easier to make, but also they are cheaper to make, which is why in the US the price did not increase, and it's why in Canada we only saw a $100 difference compared to the M1 Pro. The RAM, if spec'd with the M2 Max, can attain a total of 96GB of unified RAM, and so we are now pairing the CPU with great cache, a translation look-aside buffer, and a unified architecture with 96GB of RAM. And this makes me really wonder, who the hell needs this much speed and power? By the way, the M1 generation of the 14-inch seemed to have a TLB issue. Some people say that the fact that the TLB didn't have enough entries seemed like it was bottlenecking the speed at which the system was referencing memory. According to MaxTech and some forums, Apple seemed to have fixed this issue. To be honest though, some of these performance upgrades are things that many of us will never benefit from, simply because a lot of people just are not pro users. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not getting a maxed out system. Honestly, I've been waiting quite a while for a machine like this. I just want something extremely powerful to use as my everyday carry, my iOS dev machine, my editing machine for things like Premiere and After Effects. Yes, my refurbished maxed out M1 Max is enough, but because we need a second machine, I don't mind spending the extra money. And so in a year from now, I can deliver a proper review about it and still benefit from its power for my personal use. So basically, only reason I'm getting it is because I review tech for a living and it makes sense for me. Other than that, me getting a maxed out M2 Max and a base model M2 Pro to replace my M1 Pro just wouldn't make sense. This isn't a laptop meant to replace your current 14-inch MacBook. My opinion about this is very similar to my opinion about the M2 Air. I think this is for people with money, looking to get the latest and greatest, businesses with cash to be expensed, and the people that truly need a lot of power. There will be lots of videos regarding the M2 Pro. I will do a long-term review, maybe a day in the life, and of course a programmer's review. There's so much for me to test with this, including GPU benchmarks, which I don't really want to talk about here. This here's just a quick overview and an unboxing so you can take a look at what Apple had in store for us. I do have to go because as we speak, I am filming my day in the life video with the iPhone 14 Pro. I truly want to give you guys my honest review on how the last 3 months or 4 months have been for me with it. Just check it out, coming out on Sunday. I appreciate you guys for watching the videos. I'm out for reals, take care, and see you guys Sunday.